Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome to round number 5 of Rony's Tuesday Fun Race Extra Large 2021 in Live for Speed. I'm Peter Butcher. You're watching Sim Broadcasts live on Twitch and YouTube. And Zdravko Topolnjak should be joining me in the country box in just a few moments' time. But it's just me for now, and I will bring you up to speed with what we have this evening for our race. We have the LX6 at Rockingham International without the chicane, so we're not taking the tight chicane at turn 1 just after start finish tonight. Oh no, we are going to be going all the way around the oval, flat out down into the Dean hairpin. So let's have a look at the old calendar as we head into this event. So yes, we are on round number 5 of the season at RO7, and it's been quite a series so far. We've had a number of surprises in the Drivers' Championship, of course, and yeah, we've got plenty to look forward to this evening. So over in the let's have a look at the track map. So yes, as I mentioned, we're missing out the first chicane. We're heading all the way down to the Dean hairpin, where we turn left into the infield around the tight and twisty infield section, then back out onto the oval at the Gretton hairpin, and then we have two corners of the oval before the drivers complete a lap. Qualifying is underway has been underway for an hour since 5 o'clock UTC, and we have 44 laps worth of racing this evening at 10 past 7 UTC plus 1. All right, so let's get up to speed with who is getting around on the track. And currently leading the timesheets, it looks like True Alpha. We'll get you those pictures in just a couple of seconds' time. So as we see, yes, True Alpha setting the times alight right now with a 1:43.15, a tenth ahead of Silas's Unite, and then it's super tight at the top. The top 3 separated by less than 0.2 of a second. Looks like we've got 28 cars currently out on the track setting lap times. And we do expect a few more than that to be on our qualifying screens. But still a very decent grid at Rockingham. One of the S3 tracks in Live for Speed, or the only S3 track in Live for Speed at the moment. We're watching Iron Donny as he heads into the infield through the Gracelands corner, a really long left-hand, slightly off-camber corner, which is pretty difficult in the LX6. Let's talk a little bit about the LX6 and the challenge that awaits the drivers. We had this car in RTFR a few weeks ago, and it's back for the XL edition, 44 laps around this really tricky but awesome combo. And its 1.8 litre inline-6 front engine will be dragging all 539 kilograms of this car around the track. So pretty light, pretty powerful, and a handful. 6 gears, and you can use H shifter if you want to with this car. I'm pretty sure that Unite, who is currently in P2, will most likely be doing that, and that may give him certain advantages around the lap here today. Let's have a look at the Drivers' Championship, shall we? Leading the way, it's Joni Katila here today as WCL True Alpha. He's leading the timesheets as well. 111 points. He's clear of Silas's Rick Cardle by 7 points. Then it's Unite, Mandula, Legutskas, Ayub, Victor Veloso, Twincam, Rando, and Gemini rounding out the top 10. Number, who will be joining me in the commentary box for the start of the race, is in P11. Jordan Lavrikov, P12. Race Green's Rony, the host, in P13. Then it's Yari Gatilla in P14. William Lima for Energy Virtual Racing. Silas's Gabor. TJ Botsy all the way down in 18th, look. And Rick 98 and Strusser rounding out the top 20. Botsy not here again today, so doesn't look like his campaign for the 2021 season has quite kicked off just yet, but that's no worries. There is a lot of this year to go, and I'm sure we haven't seen the last of him, or at least I hope not. So let's turn our attention back to the track and see if anything has changed. Would not appear so at the top. We still watch Iron Donny as he completes the Tarzan hairpin there, and then onto the School Straight before he will turn right down towards the Gretton hairpin. This is a super tricky corner as Donny actually drops the car through there. Easily done, very easily done. There's not a lot of runoff, and it's very easy to lose the car there as Unite goes quite waywards into turn number 1. Super sideways through there, and then he's heading down to Yentwood. You can see the corner names plastered all over the tyre barriers at Rockingham. Very helpful as he heads into the Graceland section through Piff, first part of the Piff Paff chicane, and then into Gracelands. Looks like a pretty tidy lap. Let's ride on board as he heads through this off-camber corner. You can see how off-camber it is and how, well, tentative Unite is getting onto the throttle. Down to Tarzan, heavy on the brakes. Don't want to go too deep in here. He's gone quite deep, but he got the car just about back for the apex. Then we've got the short run down the School Straight. We're not taking the final hairpin, the final chicane of the regular touring car layout. Instead, we're going to turn right and head down to Gretton, and then onto the oval. 2 minutes left in the session. Doesn't look like anybody has anything to say to True Alpha as there's a couple of cars ahead losing it, and I think that spooked Unite somewhat because he's gone seriously deep into the final corner and someone's got past him. I'm not quite sure who that is either. It looks like one of the SPTV cars. It looks like Adam, in fact, as Adam gets past Unite as he probably wants to start his another flying lap. So side by side across start finish is not really what you want to be doing, folks, in qualifying. Yeah, those two are just holding each other up, and neither of them are going to set a very good lap if they keep doing that, as Adam goes for the inside, and they've both gone off, basically. Anyway, here's Jari Katila coming sideways out of the final proper corner on the lap before he heads onto the oval. Jari currently down in P16. Remember, World Class Lions, the team who are sponsoring both RTFR and RTFR XL in 2021. €100 on offer for the Drivers' Championship in RTFR XL. Jari in P16, not improving on that attempt. He'll have one more shot on this lap to try and improve. And again, another driver getting it all wrong into turn 1. It seems that the drivers are really struggling there today. I'm not sure what it is about that corner in the LX6 that's proving difficult, but maybe just having difficulty spotting the braking zones. Here's Onifus getting very sideways out of Gracelands down to Tarzan, P15 at the moment. A couple of drivers have displaced Jari slightly further down. Now down to P18, and we've got the two Fragmasters teammates in P15 and 16 at the moment. Onifus and Fatal Unfair. I have to say, I do like how the Fragmasters livery looks on that LX6. Normally, the sort of livery we see on their single-seater entries, but suits the LX6 quite well, I think. As he heads out onto the oval for the final time in the session, because the counter has hit 0, as Vitautas Legutscast there, hashtag Free Euro Loco, whatever that means, is up into P2. Only half a tenth behind Joni Katila. Onifus didn't improve there, so that will be that. And Rick Cardle, wow, look how close those times are. 7/10 separating, 700 separating the top 3, and only a 10th separating the top 4 in qualifying so far. Adam, quite a way back, actually. Well, over half a second in arrears to the top 4. So Zdravko, not sure if you've got yourself up to speed with the qualifying order yet, but qualifying is just finished. And it looks like we have a fight on our hands. 1/10 of a second separating the top 4 here in round number 5 of RTFR XL.
Good evening, Pete. Yeah, I'm just looking at the order now. Oh, looks like nice close field.
Do you have a headset? I can hear all the racing. Yep, it's going to be super close. And yeah, we have 10 minutes now until the start of the race. There's just a couple of drivers coming round to finish their laps. And we will give you the full rundown of the order for this qualifying session. It looks like we do have just 28 starters, but that is still a very decent grid for Rockingham in the LX6, which isn't the most popular car. It is a handful for sure, and yeah, the drivers are sure to have plenty of fun in it this evening. 44 laps awaits them, plus the 10-second mandatory pit stop. Let's have a look at that running order. So, on pole position for what must be, I can't quite pin it down, but it can't be his first pole this season, surely. A 1 minute 43.15 goes to Joni Katila, WCL True Alpha. Ahead of Vitautas Legutskas. Then it's Sidus's Rick Cardle in P3, Unite in P4, Simbroadcast Adam in P5, Young Tommy B in P6, Mandula for the hosts in P7, then it's Zesty for Master Race Car P8, Abe El Hanouni in P9 for Born to Race, Race Green's Redbot in P10, Gemini in P11, Iron Donny in P12, then it's Michael Malik in P13, Rony in P14, Oniflus and Fatas in P15 and 16, Kozzy in P17, Yari couldn't make it any further up the grid, he's in P18, then it's FRS S. Jose in P19, and Race Green's Magic rounding out the top 20. Over to the second page of results. In P21 we have Yaroloko, Timu Soini in P22, ZFRL's The Muli in P23, Gums Derinus in P24, ZFRL Mies in P25, Salvadoras in P26, Pitlane Racer P27, and Argentina Turismo's Dante in P28. So yeah, 28 qualifiers, Zdravko. Should be a good one.
Yeah, certainly hope so. Not as much as last races, but still 28 cars on this track should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can't wait to get that underway. So, yes, this season has been quite exciting so far. The longer format of RTFR does attract some pretty fast guys. And I don't remember a qualifying session for anything that was this close in recent times, as Zdravko. Just a 1/10 of a second separating 4 really, really quick guys in a super tricky car around a super tricky track.
Yeah, I also don't remember. I think that the rest of the fast guys saw Unite winning quite easily against Abscess when we had this car on a similar track a few weeks ago, so probably decided to have a go.
Yeah, he absolutely. Well, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy for him. He did have to work for that victory in the end. But yes, he did win quite comfortably in the end. But yeah, he's got his work cut out today. He's been knocked down to P4 in the dying moments of the qualifying session, but it's super close. There's nothing to choose between them. The gaps between them are the difference between a draft around half the oval, if that. So plenty to look forward to. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back just before the start of the race at 10 past. Don't go anywhere. Hello and welcome back to live coverage of Rony's Tuesday Fun Race XL 2021 Round 5 in Live for Speed with the LX6 at Rockingham International without the chicane. I'm Peter Butcher and I'm joined by Zdravko Topolnjak for the start of the race, which should be getting underway in about a minute's time. Zdravko, you were the person who chose this combo. Tell us about how that went down.
Well, I finished second in the Fox from Bay Gold and got a right to pick. Ronnie has some rules about not being able to repeat some combos. I mean, that is okay. So I had to think quite some time and thought out LX6 and Rockingham. I was unfortunate to be informed that the race will be like 2 weeks after I picked it on the almost same combo, but I still went ahead with it. I think it should be a very fun combo in this track. This track and this car, it should suit it. Nice flowing corners, nice oval for guys to pick some draft, and some really good turns where skill can come to the fore, mainly the exit onto the oval and the first turn.
Yeah, a lot of the drivers have been, well, obviously they had a lot of experience in the last couple of weeks around Rockingham. So yeah, lots of them will be up to speed certainly with this sort of combo. And it looks like we're on the grid, Zdravko. Let's go to the grid.
So we got Yoni in the first place, and
I can hear the TV whisper. Yep, Yoni Katila, True Alpha, is on the front row alongside Rick Cardle, and it looks like we are going for the start of the race. 44 laps here, underway, and we have someone stopped right at the very back of the grid. I'm not sure who that is, but anyway, let's pay our attention to the front of the grid because we've already got moves happening, and True Alpha is already under pressure. Yoni Katila from the two Sidus cars, and Adam's made a great start. He's up to P4. Where is Vytautas Lagutskas? I don't think he's taken the start, Zdravko.
No, I didn't even saw him on the start, so...
Yeah.
And somebody's on the grass?
Yeah, looks like we've not got Vytautas Lagutskas in this race once again, but yeah, Adam's made a great start there. He's up from 5th to 2nd.
Yeah, and Ricardo went to grass a bit, so he lost 2 places to Unite and Adam.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, now Unite's under, well, trying to give Adam some pressure for sure.
Yeah, I think Unite will want to try and pass Adam as soon as possible if Adam is unable to follow Yoni close. But for now, he's not that close. We will see in the last turn. Yeah, and Unite is too far behind to catch up on the oval. The field has really spread out. We have Ognifos behind Gemini for 8th place. That's the only real fight I see at the moment. Yeah, Unite came a lot closer than I thought he will be at the end. Oh, and he catches the grass. Nicely held, nicely held. That's unskillful drifting. As we watch from Adam's rear view, Unite and Ricardo are both in the hunt. The hairpin now is the good place to try and make up some ground, as Unite breaks a bit later. Yeah, I think Adam is too good at this time.
Yeah, I mean, Yoni has certainly made some ground over Adam, and it looks like the two Sidus boys are going to have to do quite a lot of work to catch up to these two. But yeah, Yoni is absolutely on pace as he heads onto the oval
And
for...
Rick hits
Oh,
Unite.
yeah. He's hit his teammate, and that's let Ayub catch up. Bit of a squirm out of the final corner for Ayub, though. That's not what he wants to be doing, especially not at the early stages of the race.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he gets Rick's draft now. I think he's a bit too far.
A little bit too far, maybe. He'll have some, of course, being that close. Oh, in fact, maybe he wants to think about a move. Yeah, he'll be able to go for a move.
Rick has a bit of a slide on the apron. On the outside. Oh, that was good defending by Rick. Yeah, I mean, when you're trying to overtake one of these Sidus guys, and you always have to think that they're not bad, they're very good. As Unite goes wide and Rick does a send on Unite and passes. Oh, that was a mistake from Unite.
Yeah, so after you were bigging him up in the pre-show, he's gone and made a mistake. But don't forget, he made an error during that last LX6 race at Rockingham as well and ended up winning. So we can't rule Unite out of this, of course. But he is now under pressure from Ayub. Don't think Ayub's going to go for a move at the end of the school straight. We've got fighting in the background. That's Zesty on your teammate, Onifus. 2FM teammates back together now.
Where they belong. Oh, Ayub made a big mistake. He outbraked himself for a hairpin.
Yeah.
He got clean. He got it clean. I think he has more speed than Zesty now, so he will run away. Ayub tried a send on Unite, but just outbraked himself.
Well, you've got to have a go sometimes, but yeah, a number of people were getting that hairpin wrong in the qualifying session, and apparently that's translating to the race as Yannick Attila sets the fastest lap, and there's a 1.3 second gap back to broadcasts Adam Brown, then Rick Cardle and Unite following when they're not overtaking or crashing into each other. That promotes Mandula up to P5 for race green.
I would say, and I would be biased and just say it would be nice to see Adam win this.
Okay.
Hopefully I didn't jinx him.
But I think you now have. Whenever we say anything like that on air, something happens.
Yeah, I remember last week.
Yeah, maybe the luck is
with
you this time. Yeah, you're welcome. Pretty sure I was single-handedly responsible for none of you guys finishing where you wanted to, so you're very welcome. Yeah, let's keep Adam on the screen for a bit.
Yeah, Rick is trying to catch, but I mean Adam has great speed. Their best laps are the same for Ricardo and Adam, and Unite is slower than that a lot. But he had mistake every lap probably.
Rick Cardle snatches the fastest lap. He is definitely gaining on Adam a little bit, and the gap to Unite is certainly opening. Now, don't forget that there is a 10-second mandatory pit stop at some point during this race for all of our drivers, so there may be some strategy at play here. Has Unite got a full tank, or will Yoni be refueling? That's the question that everybody will be asking. Especially us here in the commentary box. We have no idea what strategy people are using. I don't know if you do, Zdravko.
Well, I have no clue, but I would be surprised if they all had fuel for whole race, because why would you drive with more weight than you have to?
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense in that when you have to stop for 10 seconds, you may as well time your pit stop to the fuel. as we have some action further down, swapping places between the two world-class Lion teammates. Jari Katila losing a place to Team Usoini, and under pressure from one of the Ford Rally Sport cars.
There's also a big fight for a P9, as my two teammates decide to gang up on Zesty, and Michael is very interested behind them.
Yeah, you're right about them wanting to stick together. They've both got through on Zesty for now. It looks like Zesty's going to try and have a go back. Does he think better of it? He does, and that lets Michael go around the outside.
But Ovnifus Vance goes wide. Oh, this will be interesting on the oval.
Yeah, there's all four of them are pretty close. Somehow, what has happened there? Somehow Onifus has managed to get a bit of a gap already over Michael, even though they were
he went
side by side.
He went wide. He went deep on the braking, but that just meant he had a slingshot out of the turn.
Yeah, this has given Kozzy a heck of a run here. He's basically had a 4-car tow ahead of him. He's going to try and have a move on Zesty, maybe into turn 1. Yeah, he's going to go for the inside and backs out of it. Yeah.
But Zesty outbrakes himself. Oof. Yeah. So Zesty went wide and Kossi passed. It was not Kossi backing out of it, it was Zesty braking too late. It's really hard to brake on time in these cars, because if you brake a bit too late, then you have big problems with rear stepping out.
Speaking of big problems, Adam's under pressure now from Rick. So yeah, you may have jinxed him slightly. Here goes Rick for the send into Tarzan. Side by side they go. Big send, and there's contact. Adam's sent a little bit wide. He'll have a run because he had a well, he's gone for the move again.
That's optimistic.
It definitely is. You're just going to slow each other down with moves through there. It's not traditionally an overtaking corner, as Rick goes very defensive into Gretton, and Adam's got this all wrong, I think. Oh no, Rick's got it wrong.
Now hits Unite.
All checked out, and he's hit Unite, yeah. Again, the two-sided cars come together.
Rick has the draft now.
Yeah, he's in trouble, isn't he, Adam? He's going to the apron. Try and break that toe, but it's not going to be enough because there's so much of the oval remaining that Rick can just do what he likes. Into turn 1. And also down into the Dean hairpin. Which way is he going to go? He goes to the inside. Adam will defend. Adam is a tough racer. And they are through just about. Rick is back up to P2 for now, but will Adam try to go for the move into Yentwood? Yes, he does. He sticks his nose in there and decides better of it at the last minute.
That was
Chapman.
Unite is very close on Adam now. He's trying to profit.
Yeah, round the outside through Piff and then onto Gracelands, and that was ambitious. Didn't quite work out. Would have loved to have seen that work, but anyway, Adam going quite wide through the apex of Gracelands and somehow makes it work. Holds on for now. Mandula will be gaining a little bit while these lots squabble.
But the guy gaining the most is True Alpha, 4 seconds ahead.
Yeah, that is a pretty big gap already, for sure.
Yeah, he profited a lot. He made a second on Adam in just this sector alone.
Well, let's see. Will there be a move on the oval again with a Sidus car and Adam? Probably, because look how close Unite is to the back of that Martini liveried LX6.
You gotta say, Unite judged that braking perfectly. He was just inch perfect. Now he's taking the wider line on the entry. He will try to send it inside now, as he does. If he doesn't lose the rear now, he's in good position.
Oh, Adam has to use a bit of the wall to slow the car down. Was there contact there? Maybe a tiny amount, yeah. Adam has to kind of rethink his strategy here a little bit if he wants to get back up into the podium paying positions. Because as we head over Sector 1, Unite is going to pop up into P3. There we go. So Adam had a brilliant start. Started P5, promoted to P4 with Lagutskas not starting. Found himself right behind the leader in P2, and he's back down to P4 behind Rick and Unite. But yeah, the Sidus guys really need to get the hammer down because they're being embarrassed at the moment by this man, Yoni Katila, who is heading into Tarzan for world-class Lions.
Well, we're 8 laps in, and that's what you could call sailing at the front.
Yeah, that is a big gap. But yeah, these guys were fighting, and you can see how much they were fighting because Mandula is right behind Adam now. And I wonder if Adam and Unite are going to keep trying to slow each other down. Mandula would surely like that. I'm sure he'd love to get in on the action here.
Yeah, surely. I think that Unite will try to set his sights on Ricardo, and Adam should just try and keep it clean and try to keep as close as Unite as possible, because if two Sidus guys again start to fight each other, then that's his chance to get back into the mix.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the gap, the void ahead of the two Sidus cars. There goes Yoni through our picture down into Yentwood. And yeah, he just needs to take his time. Obviously, he's still got to deal with the back markers, and we know how much they like to get in amongst the action. And if Yoni keeps driving the way he's going, he's going to be finding himself in back marker traffic pretty quickly. Side-by-side battle right at the back of the grid. Somewhat neutralised itself now, but Donny has moved ahead of Magic as we head onto lap 9. Will there be a counter move into turn 1? I think Magic might just be a little bit too far behind for that one. Yep, decides to bail out of it. As Adam is off at Tarzan, and he's out of the race. So, so much for your wanting Adam to win it. We're down to 20 cars.
Sorry, Adam.
What happened? I don't know what happened. What happened to Adam? Maybe he'll come and have a word with us. I don't know. But anyway, Adam's out. He crashed in a very bizarre place, actually, on inside barrier at Tarzan. Maybe he just saw his tyres were going and decided to call it a day. Maybe there was contact, who knows? But that promotes Mandula up to P4, and Gemini's in the top 5.
Kose is hunting down Michael. He gained some time on this lap, and we will see how close he will be on the inside of the track.
Yeah, quite a way behind, as it turns out. Michael's managed to get a good run out of the final corner. But look how much Kozzy gained on the brakes there, actually. That was a pretty decent braking zone for Kozzy. Hearing that Adam dropped the car on his own, he put a wheel off just where True Alpha is now and speared into the opposite wall. As Yoni actually... Did you lock a wheel there into Tarzan? You can't do that too many times in the LX, especially over a long race like this. Pretty sensitive front tyres on the LX6. Mandula for Race Green doing a really nice job in P4. Not running the bright green.
The Mule P12 just went off. I'm sorry, the Mule P12 just went off. Oh, he's coming back to the track. These cars are really tricky to drive. He just put the rear wheel on the grass by a centimeter, and he just speared off into the wall.
Well, yeah, he's learning the LX6 the hard way. It bites, definitely bites. And Yari Katila now up to P13. So gaining places because of other drivers' mistakes. Rony and ZFRL LG Mies are having a bit of a scrap, Zdravko, as they head on to the final straight before the oval. And Rony's going
Yeah,
for a move.
Ronnie will try the inside. Oh, this is a tricky one. You don't want to outbrake yourself. I think
Yeah.
that the wider line should give better speed on the oval, but it seems like Ronnie has managed to pick up the throttle nicely out of the tight line.
Yeah, Mies did not get a good pickup at all. He was a bit, well, struggling for traction is the nice way to put it, out of the final corner. He'll gain a little bit in the slipstream, but don't think he'll be close enough for a move down into turn one. Turn one is, I would say, probably one of the nicest places to get a move done, especially if you get a good exit. As Rony loses the car almost and spooks Mies a bit. And these two are going to be squabbling for a while, probably for this lap at least after that.
This just shows how tricky this car is, as Mies slows down a lot.
Yeah, speaking of how tricky this car is, Yoni is making it look pretty easy, but the gap at the front is not going down anymore. It's not going up anymore. It's kind of hovering around the 4.3 second mark. So Rick Cardle clearly doing something right. Let's see what the gap is once we get an update. And yeah, it'd be great to get a 4.2 seconds. So it is going down ever so slightly there, Zdravko. So
yeah,
what's Rick Cardle got in store?
Well, Rick got 2/10 faster lap last time around than Yoni. And I was just checking Unite, he got 2 seconds slower lap than Rick last time around. So he probably made a bit of a mistake somewhere. Otherwise, their best laps out of top 3 are all basically identical, only a 10th in it.
Yeah, so similar story to qualifying then, really. Those guys just need to be doing qualifying laps, or as many as they can until their pit stop. Donny and Mies are going at it. So it was Donny and Magic. It's now Mies and Donny side by side through oval turn 1. And Donny with the advantage at the moment, but into the braking zone it can all change as Mies goes for the wider line, maybe thinking about a cutback on the exit of Dean hairpin, but Donny is through and that move is made. Looks like Mies is dropping slightly back down the field. Rony has disappeared up the road a little bit here. He's already in Piff. As the gap comes down again at the front in the final sector. Only slightly, but it only needs to come down slightly, doesn't it, Zdravko? We've got quite a long race. We've got 30 laps left. And yeah, Rick Cardle is doing everything he needs to do as it comes down again to 4.0 seconds now.
Yeah,
Rick Cardle needs to keep picking away.
It was again almost 2/10. But this time around, Unite was also on the pace, so they're all running quite similar pace. Just depends on the fuel now. I'm watching that Ricardo has better tires than Yoni, so he's not pushing the car as hard as Yoni is. We will see how that translates later into the race. As only on first sector now, Ricardo has 3/10 faster lap time than Yoni.
3/10 on one lap is a lot, so maybe Yoni...
Sector.
Yeah, sorry, in the first sector. Maybe Yoni is pushing it a little bit hard. See, that gap is coming down while we ride on board with Rick Cardle, the Dutch driver for Sidus, as he goes onto the school straight. Gets the power down really nicely at the moment. Obviously, he's trying to manage the tyres. Doesn't want to slide around too much. Generally, in these rear-wheel drive cars, if you can hear the tyres screaming in the back of the car, it means that you're doing something wrong, especially in a longer race like this. So you want to be nice and smooth and then really gentle with your throttle pickup. There you can hear, or rather not hear, any sort of drama from the back of Rick Cardle's LX6 as he brings that gap down to below 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, that was another 2.5 tenths in sector 2.
So maybe Yoni is just I don't know, working on tyre management. We'll have to keep an eye on that gap as it develops. It seems to be hovering around that 3.5 second mark. Johnny heads into turn 1 with Rick Cardle in hot pursuit behind.
I mean, even Unite was faster than Johnny this lap, so it could be that both of them will come back to him.
Well, we'd like to think so, sat here in our commentary position. Everybody seems to have their own sort of piece of tarmac at the moment. Too many cars battling for position just this moment. Closest are these pair, Race Green's Redbot, known to some as Jeff and Jacob, and Fadas, Fragmasters, Fatal Unfair, or Santu Sarah. That's the thing with LFS, you're never quite sure who's who.
Yeah, people change their names a lot.
Yeah, seems as though certain drivers on the grid, certain ones who do qualifying and then decide to not race, change their name more often than I have hot dinners. As we see Fat Ass getting a little bit wide through Gracelands.
That's a tricky curb to go on to because it has that edge on the curb that it can kind of kick your car a bit. So you gotta be really super careful when you're coming back over the curb onto the track.
Yeah, and you can contrast the driving styles of the drivers up and down the grid. Let's watch Fat Ass as he heads through the final corner of the lap. Yeah, nice throttle pickup there, and has a draft on the race green car ahead.
I'm afraid he's just a bit too far behind.
I think he'll be alright. It's difficult to tell, but Redbot's gone a bit wide, so he's broken the toe. Fatal hasn't followed him. Let's see. Might be right. That wider line saved him a little bit. He has got a bit of a slide on, but yeah, they won't be close enough into turn 1. And he lives to fight another lap.
Yeah, but considering their respective pace, it could be much closer when the lap turns around. Sorry, I'm quiet. I'm just looking at my skin.
Yeah, it's. I was mentioning this actually before you arrived. I was saying that the FM skins do look very nice on the LX6. Normally plastered all over the single seaters, but yeah, it was nice to see him on the LX. As Redbot, you can hear him feathering the throttle through Gracelands, and that just allowed Fadas to catch up just that little bit more as they break down into Tarzan. Only a couple of corners left before another attempt for Fatal to get the job done on the oval. But yeah, it really is difficult to stay behind or close enough behind the driver ahead onto the oval.
I think the big difference here is that Redbot is on a mouse. So in a car like that, that has to hurt.
As
He
it
goes a bit
deep.
wide.
But it gets a nice exit again, and maybe Fatal should have seen that a little bit earlier, what was going on. Would have been able to pick a different line into the corner to make the most of the fact that the car ahead went round an apex that was probably about 10 metres further down the road, and is in fact further behind than he was last lap. Battle further back at the same corner as Soini goes wide and the Muli trying to get past. Timu Soini was trying to stick behind his teammate Yannick Attila, but there is now a ZFRL car in that sandwich, and it doesn't look like Soini is going to be close enough to make a move back on the oval. Soini actually running either a higher gear or just not as much speed as he exits onto the oval. The engine note somewhat different between the two cars.
So the battle for 7th place looks like it will quickly become a battle for 6th, 7th and 8th place as Redbot and Ferris are quickly catching up to Ayob.
Yeah, Ayob wide out of Tarzan, and let's watch as these guys head down the school straight once again. These three are certainly the closest on the track at the moment, and yeah, I think you're going to be right. Ayob is struggling a little bit on those tyres.
This is such a tricky turn. You could be far behind, but if you get the braking spot on and your rival misses the braking a bit, you can gain so much time, and then with a good exit you can gain a draft and easily overtake.
Yeah, and once again, the FM car, they're failing to get into the slipstream of Jeffin's LX6. It is easier said than done, though.
We will talk with them later.
As Ayub goes wide again.
Red Bot goes wide also.
A lot of drivers doing this today. Turn 1 seems to be really difficult, spotting the braking zone and being able to get the car slowed down. Some drivers choosing to leave quite a lot of rubber at the apex as they spin the car into the corner. And yeah, I think Abe's been a little bit lucky there, because Jeffin is now holding up fatal again. Looks like Soini is the first car that we've noticed to make a pit stop. Only just managed to stop in the box. We're hearing that Rony, Magic and Pit Lane Racer have already stopped, so Soini is not the first, but the first that we've seen. That looked like a long stop, but I didn't have my watch on me, so probably around about 10 seconds. 10.3 seconds that stop, and that probably was some fuel going in as well. So Soini is all done in the pits and is soon to be lapped by the looks of it by his fast-charging world-class Lions teammate. Johnny Cotillo comes round to start lap 18 of 44 here at Rockingham in Live for Speed. .08 seconds the gap between first and second now. That gap's come down even more in the last couple of laps.
Yeah, he only had a bit slower last lap. He lost almost half a second, but 3 laps ago he did a blinder and a new fastest lap over the race. He did a 1:43.46. For comparison, fastest for Cardo is 43.59. And Unite is on 43.78. So it looks like Yoni has the pace when he needs it, but probably just drives a bit safer.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't need to push at this point. He has track position. He is exactly where he needs to go. Or needs to be, sorry. But if he is pushing flat out, then he should be supremely worried by Rick Cardle, because I think it's safe to say that Rick is being more consistent at this stage. Even though Yoni is able to pull out the odd fastest lap, you have to be consistent to win consistently fast. It might be just under the ultimate pace, but if you can do it lap after lap after lap, that is when you become a dangerous competitor.
Well, that's exactly what Ricardo is.
Yeah, it's under 3 seconds.
He's just so
now.
consistent. As another lap goes by and Ferris isn't any nearer to Red Bot.
We say it like it's a bad thing, but it is always fun to find someone around your skill level to race with, and RTFR does offer that. There's with such big grids at the tracks in Live for Speed, there's always someone to come and race with, so why not get involved? So we see these 2 cars going sideways into turn 1 again. Almost close enough to make a move.
You can see the rear of the cars twitching. They want to press the throttle as early as possible, and it just that's a nice move.
Yeah, nice. Not in the place where you normally expect to see a move that easy, but Redbot just losing the car a little bit. Oh!
And that's a nice save. So, 2 nices for Ferris.
That's showboating. I'll give him that one, because he actually caught the grass a little bit and nearly spun the car. But anyway, Palas is up to P8 for now, if he can keep it on the road. And now he needs to set his sights on Ayub, who's been allowed to get away a little bit while these two were doing synchronized, whatever it was, synchronized sliding into turn 1.
I mean, no wonder they were together for so long. Do you know what are their fastest laps?
Probably the same, or close.
There is a 100 of a second difference. As Red Bull goes a bit slidey on the exit.
Yeah, there's plenty of throttle there. Bit of frustration maybe, because he's dropped further back now. Falas did go pretty wide into Gretton, but just got a nicer pickup of the throttle and out onto the oval once more. Soini's stopped and is catching Mies through the... Well, this will be Gracelands now. So Soini's already had to get past Mies once this race. Because he's stopped, he has to go and do it again. Not finding a way around in Tarzan. But look who's behind as Soini and Mies do go side by side. It's True Alpha who's looking to put a lap over another driver. He's already lapped Salvadoras.
Soini goes by.
And Mies lets Yoni through. Nice.
Yeah, nice move. There will be no Toto Wolff on the radio today. But during this,
yeah, we missed the move on Ayub. But I reckon Ayub must have made a mistake. I don't think the gap was that small. Yeah, I think Ayub's been off somewhere or something, because that looks far too easy. And Redbot's right behind Ayub now.
Yeah, Ayub lost 3 seconds on split 2, so probably somewhere on a grass a bit.
Yeah, well, only lost 1 place. Redbot will still have to battle through, and these guys are on similar pace, remember, so this might go on for a while again. But yeah, Ayub down to P7, Falas for FM, Fragmasters up to P6, and someone who we haven't focused on really much at all this race is MRC Gemini, who's doing a really solid job in P5 at the moment. Normally a driver who we associate with being absolutely rapid in the single-seaters, in the lower-powered single-seaters, but showing that he is a multifaceted driver, doing a pretty good job in the LX6 right now.
Well, he won the endurance in GTRs last year, didn't he? I think that MRC won the team endurance in GTR, so he's good. He's good in everything.
I'll take your word for it.
And while we were watching that, Ricardo has got the advantage from Yoni down to 2.3 seconds.
Your teammate Onifus has left the race, we believe, because his pit stop was too short and he didn't fancy going around, stopping again and being way outside the points position. So that's a shame. We lose another driver. Onifus has called it a day after getting his pit stop strategy wrong.
Well, he gets that often. Pit stop strategy is wrong. His car nameplate is Fuel Master, because he gets fuel wrong so many times.
Well, I always thought that fuel problems were the sorts of errors that you did once and then never did again. Yeah, from my experience, it's not that difficult to test how much fuel 10 seconds is in Live for Speed. There are enough tools there to help you out. So maybe you can give him some tips on how to eradicate that from his list of problems. As Falas pits, let's see how long that one was. Falas's pit stop was 10.7, so that was a good one.
Have he bring in the time that only missed?
LG Mies and Rony will be side by side across the line. Oof, yeah, that was pretty close. But Rony Sorry, that's Thamuli, not Mies. Rony was registered ahead at the line by, well, the exact same time, in fact.
That
1
looked
minute
a bit
12.
scary for a second.
A little bit. They've managed to get themselves around Dean and into Yentwood. But yeah, these cars are so skittish, aren't they? Especially in the braking here. I didn't expect to see that so much. Yeah, some of the drivers really are struggling to slow this thing down. And as Thamuli losing the car a little bit on the entry to the infield.
Yeah, I think to make this car a bit more stable, you just have to match the RPMs when you're downshifting. If you're not throttle blipping, you're just destined to have your rear step out.
We've got a bunch of cars in the pits. We've got Mandula. We've got Redbot, who's apparently missed his pit box and has had to find another one. So that's going to cost him time to Ayub. Ayub hasn't pitted yet. As we watch Ayub, doing turn 1 rather nicely. Gap at the front, as Zdravko is under 2 seconds.
1.7.
Yeah.
That's relentless pressure for Ricardo.
This is just when he needs to be consistent. This is the sort of situation where, as I mentioned before, doing the fastest lap of the race a couple of times in the race just isn't enough, especially when you've got drivers like Ricardo in the grid. You have to do the same fast laps every single lap. Otherwise, you're going to get caught. And Yoni is probably getting a bit of a sweat on right now as Sidus driver exits the oval less than 2 seconds behind the True Alpha.
Yeah, I think this has stopped being a joke like 3-4 laps ago. I think that Yoni probably would have hoped to kept it at around 3 seconds. This is really close. One little mistake and he has a big pink purple car in his mirrors.
Well, we love to see close battles at the front in RTFR. We've seen plenty of them this season. Some of them were a little bit theatrical, but this one will this will certainly not be theatrical. These guys will both want the win for their teams. Of course, there is no teams championship being scored as such in RTFR Excel. That is reserved for the regular edition 2 Tuesdays a month for RTFR. But, you want your team to finish in the lead and you also want to win. So these two will be going at it as Ayub decides to pit and Mandula go through. 11.1 seconds for Gemini, for Ayub, so slightly longer than maybe he would have wanted.
This one will be interesting. Where will Ferres come out? They were close before the pit stop. Oh,
ahead.
Far ahead, yeah.
Yeah.
As Jose is close.
Yes.
Ayub goes wide.
Oh, goodness me. That's a little bit silly, that, isn't it? I don't know whether Ayub didn't see the Ford Rally Sport car there or what, but as he loses it again. Oh dear.
There was a bit of pink involved, I'd say. Always a factor in online racing, you can't help it, but I'm not sure they even touched.
It looked like there was some slight lag going on, yep. As we we missed it, but Kozzy, who hasn't pitted yet, has just been passed on the road by Mandula. Kozzy was briefly up into P4, but will drop down when he stops eventually. Let's keep an eye on this gap at the front. We do not want to miss it. Unite has stopped, so Unite is on whatever other alternate strategy to his teammate, as Unite sets the fastest pit stop of the race so far that was actually legal, above the 10-second mark. And the gap at the front is down to a second. We have a race on our hands, and it's just over halfway through the race now. Yoni goes wide.
Before Ricardo catches Yoni, I'd like to say that this isn't exactly good news for Unite, pitting earlier than front two,
No,
because
absolutely not.
that means he had less fuel than them and was slower. Oh, Rick is really close now.
Yeah, I mean, there's two ways to look at this. Does Yoni have fuel to go to the end, and has Rick fueled less? The gains have been quite significant, and this pace wasn't really there at the beginning for Rick. Yoni was able to just kind of run away. So let's see what happens here. I imagine that this pace is genuine, and these two will be running a slightly similar strategy, but only time can tell. Head into turn one, we are 3/10 separating the top two. Lovely downshifting engine braking there from Rick Cardle. He's got everything sorted out into turn one. And here we ride on board the bonnet cam as we head into Yempwood up towards Chapman Curve. Then into the first part of Piff Paff before we head left and not right.
He can smell blood here.
Into Gracelands once again, and look at Yoni. Yoni's just a little bit unsettled, isn't he? Rick Cardle is super smooth. It's absolutely amazing riding on board. Going for a sniff down the inside at Tarzan. Yoni's car just doesn't look like it's enjoying itself as much as Rick's car. Might be because we're watching from the outside, but anyway, where is Rick going to go for this move? It's going to happen. Is it going to be on the oval? He'll have to get a really sweet exit onto the oval if he wants that to happen.
He's definitely in position for it. Will he go wider? Yeah. Try to get the speed out of turn.
Yeah, Yoni was smart there. Yoni was smart there. That was a good final corner for Yoni, and I think that is that for another lap.
Yeah. I mean, now that we watched the lap and I was watching what Yoni was doing, Rick is able to be tighter, smoother and faster through the turns. So
yeah,
there's quite some inherent pace in that car. I think quite faster than Yoni is able to drive now, but he won't. Like they say, it's one thing to catch, and with a delta of a tenth or two per lap, and quite another thing to pass when you're not that much faster.
We have back markers to deal with now, and as we saw before, Jose did pose a little bit of an issue for Ayub. It wasn't totally Jose's fault, though, I have to say. I think Ayub could have given him a bit more room. He was well alongside when Ayub decided to rejoin. Speaking of Ayub, apparently side by side with the Muli and Doni, actually, and gets through, but I'd like to keep our focus on this lead battle if we can. See, will the back markers get out of the way cleanly and let this battle unfold on its own? Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. Ideally, he should move now.
Yeah, into the, go deep into Gretton, let the leaders through, and then follow through. Doesn't look like we're going to be treated to that as Yoni goes a bit wide, and Rick is going to have a run. Let's see what happens. Yoni managed to get a pickup even at the end there, but Rick is definitely in the slipstream now.
Yeah.
So is Yoni.
It's close. Maybe the left car will be saving grace for Yoni.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the lapped car of Jose is certainly helping Yoni there. Yeah, in fact, I think he's pulling away from Rick, which shouldn't be the case when Rick's this close. Hopefully the back marker can get out of the way. Yoni's on the horn. He's trying to get the back marker to move, and he does go a bit deep. Oh,
he went wide.
Oh, and we've got the leaders almost spinning. That's going to help Unite. The yeah, that's uncharacteristic contact from these two. Not really sure what Rick thought. Yeah, I don't know what Rick was thinking there, really. I mean, Yoni went deep, sure, but there was no gap. There was no gap there.
That was optimistic, and it's not something that Rick does. So maybe
Rick isn't driving?
Yeah, no, he's driving, but maybe they're just showing how close on pace they are. And maybe Rick is thinking he needs to take any opportunity that comes.
Yeah. Well, there was a gap. There was a gap, but it's not a place where you normally want to send your car, especially if the driver ahead is Yoni, because he's always going to close it as more back markers move out of the way now at the end of the school straight. But yeah, the gap's back up again, and Rick's got it all to do. That was aggressive, and it didn't pay off.
Yeah, gap is 2.5 now. As Yoni passes both cars.
Yeah, Rick now has to navigate these back markers. Unite has stopped, remember, so we don't think that he's going to be able to match the pace of the leaders, as we've got the two Race Green teammates going at it. Redbot for Race Green leading Rony in the brightest skin and live for speed through Chapman. Redbot a little bit wide at the apexes. Rony just has that tighter line, as you can see yet again, through Rockingham Curve and onto Gracelands. Yet again, Redbot with a slightly later turn in, although Rony was a little bit wide there and the gap's gone up a bit.
Will be interesting to see how good nerves Rick has now. Because,
well, he's made it through the back marker traffic.
Yeah, they moved away nicely. But now it's just the question of the nerves, I think, because if you overdo it in this car, if you start to drive too ragged, you will just get slower. And I gotta say, it's really nice to watch him drive.
What's happened to Mandula? He is crawling across start finish.
No, the car is working.
That looks like a hardware failure to me, and that's uncharacteristic of Mandula. What has happened there? Mandula was running around in P4, and Gemini has been gifted that position. So really unfortunate for Mandula there. He drops down to P6, and will probably, you'd have to think, oh, there we go. He's found his throttle again. So whatever's happened there, clearly technical. That's a nightmare. You never want that to happen, do you? Oh, we've had a change for the lead. Yoni's in the pits. So Yoni was going for a... Yeah, so Yoni had less fuel on board, presumably, than Rick Cardle.
That makes it interesting. Really interesting, because... so that means Rick is even faster.
10.3 second stop for Yoni Katila. Rick now has less fuel on board. And apparently Mandula's stuck again, so this is probably going to be a retirement. There is damage on the front of that car, so probably a brake failure that time, I guess, maybe. Pedal problems for Mandula by the looks of it, and retires from the race. 18 runners remain. Yoni Katila has pitted and rejoins in P2, and Unite is nowhere. Zdravko is nowhere.
24 seconds.
It's huge.
That's a lot.
Yeah. An uncomfortable gap, especially when you know you have pace, and there's a driver who is, two drivers in a league of their own at the moment, running around nearly half a minute ahead of anyone else. Jose and Magic side by side for position, or they were.
As Miss goes wide and catches Ricardo a bit.
Oh!
But Rick didn't lose so much time. I thought he would just send him into the wall, but he saved it already and just touched a bit on Cardo. So probably Cardo didn't lose too much time, but probably something. We will see how much
from the news from the Twitch chat that Mandula's brake pedal is broken. So that is really unfortunate. Never like to hear that happening. But yeah, the gap at the front is going up. Now 30 seconds between Rick and True Alpha, and that is because Rick hasn't stopped yet and probably won't for a while. Let's see, how long is it going to be before he comes into the pits? Probably, well, it's completely up to him. It's his race to lose now.
Rick lost a second on this last lap due to lap traffic and hit he got from Miss. So that's quite a lot.
It's a lot, but you'd think that with the state of his car, he might be able to gain it again. The gap has come down, so maybe not. We'll have to see. It will be close at the stop. You do lose quite a lot of time driving down the pit lane at Rockingham because it's a very slow speed limit, a lot lower than any of the other environments in LFS. And it's also quite long because it's on an oval. As we see some expert driving there from True Alpha, Rony as he heads through Chapman Curve. Few more back markers to deal with for him as well, so maybe Rick might gain a little bit of time back. And that's the thing in racing. If you go on an alternate pit strategy and you come out in traffic and go one of two ways, they can all let you through nicely, or it can be a nightmare. And that's racing.
So the closest battle in the field for now is RG teammates, Redbot and Rony. I feel like they've been switching places, right? Was Redbot ahead before?
Yes, Redbot was ahead, and now Rony is ahead. And up to P6, which is remarkable when you consider where he started. Yeah, it's not... Yeah, Rony was down in the 20s at the start, pitted on the first or second lap, and well, now look, P6.
Oh, you get a lot by running clean without traffic, so maybe that was his strategy for today.
Yeah,
pit early and just run clean race.
In the longer races back in the day, it was often the strategy of the drivers that if lap one didn't go well, you would pit and come out in clean air and just do your own race. As we have Jose and Michael going at it again. Jose for Ford Rally Sport driving that pink LX6 and Michael Malik driving the grey and white number 17 for Master Race Car. Is Michael the only Czech representative on the grid here? Normally we've got a few of them representing, but it does look that way. I know that Kid is in the Twitch chat, and I'm not sure where Yaroslav is.
Ohnifos is Czech also, but he retired.
Ah, yes. Out of the race. So Michael Malik in P11. Nice place, Czech driver. We always like to keep an eye on that kind of country battle going on, as Jose feels as though he needs to go defensive into Gretton, and there's more side-by-sides between these guys.
As Ricardo goes 0.01 of a second off his fastest lap, so he's pushing again.
Yeah, Rick's brought that gap back up to 30 seconds or over 30 seconds, and at some point took the fastest lap of the race. I'm not sure when he did that because Rony had it for before he stopped, I think. So there we go. Michael manages to keep that position for now, and your teammate Fatal is in P5 at the moment. So yeah, decent race in the end so far, with 12 laps to go.
There's still Rony there behind. Maybe he can catch him, but yeah, good race. So Rony and Rick are now driving almost same pace, so that I think that Rick has full fuel already in the car.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that it takes any... Well, it probably takes less than 10 seconds to refuel the fuel he needs for the end of the race. So Rick will be eyeballing the stop, probably. Not using the fuel refill to time his pit stop. Rony has opened the gap slightly to Redbot, but yeah, like you said, it does feel as though these two have been trading tenths for the last 10 or so laps, as Rony runs wide again. So yeah, that battle is never going to end, but their teammates, I'm sure they'll be having a bit of fun out there. This is RTFR, Rony's Tuesday Fun Race after all. On this lap, Rony Katila has set the fastest Sector 2 time of anybody in the race. He's pushing.
Yeah, looks to be a good lap. Still not the fastest lap of the race, but 43.31.
Yeah, and brings the gap under 30 seconds again. So it will be close when these guys, when Rick decides to stop. Of course, we don't think that he'll be able to time his stop as accurately as those who've pitted before him. So that could play into Joni Katila's favour. Let's see. Rick has made some mistakes in the past. It's not over yet, for sure. He is human.
So a 1/10 in first sector now for Rick. And this fight has been ongoing, as Jose refuses to be let down by Michael. He will surely have a run now in this turn. Well, the side is against it. Maybe he hoped that my...
Oh, and there we go. Hooked by the curb. Dropping a wheel behind the curb is a disaster sometimes in LFS. And has spun around. Rony's gone off, so Redbot is back in the lead of this battle at turn 1, just before Yentwood, and yeah, these two. Well, I don't think that's over by any stretch, and if they keep going like that, then Abe's going to surely catch up and have some fun as well. When will Rick Cardle pit? I have well, he has 10 laps, 9 and a bit to go. Iron Donny's coming to the pit lane again.
He has to serve a drive-through.
Oh, okay. So a drive-through for speeding in the pit lane earlier, and decides to serve that, and that drops him way down the order, down to P13. As Jose times out, so yeah, spins the car with the curb at the Gretton hairpin and then times out. That's an unfortunate way to end your race, and that brings us down to 17 runners.
When I think about it, if I would be in his place, maybe I would kick the PC so hard that it would die.
Yeah.
Not saying that's what he did. Yeah, just looking at Iron Donny and his drive-through. This is a strange track in LFS because it has lower pit limit than other tracks, so if people are unaware of that, it's easy to make a mistake.
Yeah, and obviously this car has no pit lane speed limiter either, so you have to eyeball that too. Rick Cardle crosses the line to make it 8 laps to go here, or 9, sorry, at Rockingham. He has the fastest lap, he has a 30-second lead, and on aggregate, after he makes his pit stop, he should just be ahead of Joni Katila after a great strategy call from him and the Sidus guys. Someone who won't be happy with this race, Zdravko, is Unite. Unless something happens up ahead with the two leaders, I'm sure Unite will be a little bit annoyed about this because he won pretty easily in the last LX6 race that we had at Rockingham a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that just shows the difference in skill level when these big guns join the race. I'm not sure why Unite lacks pace today. It could be that he didn't train a lot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is the case because Unite wins more often than not in RTFR, it seems. He's won a few races this season, and yeah, he's just not on the pace today, and it happens. It's a bi-weekly pickup race series. You can't always put in the hours to train to be at the top. And let's not forget, he's still on the podium, so let's not take too much away from him.
Maybe he's happy with it.
Maybe. I mean, it's good points for his championship campaign, and I'm amazed. I mean, look at the void between the leader and P4. Of course, that gap will come down by about just under 30 seconds when Rick pits, but still big gaps between the drivers throughout the field here.
Yeah, but the gap between Joni and Gemini is the correct and real one. It's 40 seconds. That's basically in line with their best laps. It's a bit over a 1 second difference in a best lap. So yeah, that's huge difference in pace. But you also have to be fair to Gemini, and yeah, he doesn't race these cars so often. I'm sure Ricardo races more often in LX cars than Gemini.
Well, Rick Cardle is steadily opening the gap. I'm not sure how that's quite possible, but he's managing it. And sooner or later, he needs to come into pit lane. The problem with eyeballing a pit stop, especially when you have to make sure that you don't mess up the entry and stuff. It just adds to your stress when you do your pit stop, and that's when you're more likely to make a mistake. As speaking of mistakes, Falas has dropped down to P6 and is now in not a WCL sandwich like he was before. He's in a race green sandwich. Apparently, he was in the gravel trap at Tarzan. And speaking of overtakes, Rony went wide and Ayub managed to get past at Gretton.
Oh, this gives us a potential for 4-car battle at the end of the race.
Yeah, so we should have a battle for the lead and a battle further down. Good stuff. With 15 cars remaining and 8 laps.
As Ferris should be able to pick the pace back to Redbot and catch him up in these last 6 laps. And Ayub will be itching for it also, because if you remember, Ayub was ahead of Ferris at the start of the race. But he made a mistake and lost time.
So some strategy coming undone a little bit at the end. You're watching Sim Broadcasts live on Twitch and YouTube. All of our broadcasts from now on in Live for Speed will be multicast across both platforms, so you can take your pick there. Glad you're joining us for RTFR. If you're interested in joining this series, all of the information can be found on the Live for Speed forum in the Race Green events section. Amuli and Donny going at it again. Seems like Donny's been involved in more action today than at any point in the last few rounds. Side by side with the ZFRL driver into turn 1. Donny on the right, running very deep. And Samuli up the inside.
Sorry to interrupt you, but Yoni has got into a bit of a problem. He went for a pass on Magic on a left car, and he went wide, then went wide again in next turn, went into a grass, and then went into a half spin. So,
oh no! So this is going to be a big gap now at the split time.
Let's see how much he lost. I'm thinking surely a second, if not more, and that's all Ricardo needs.
So what was I saying before about backmarkers? They can make or break your race, and it wasn't that much. It was only half a second that he lost.
Yeah, amazing actually. I think part of it was in first sector, part of it was in second, so it's all combined. Because now the gap is 31.9, almost 32 seconds. It was 31.0, so almost a second lost.
Rick decided not to come into the pit lane, and with 6 laps to go for him, he has to come in the next 5. He can't pit on the last lap, of course, and our race leader will... Well, he gets free choice now when he pits. He has decided to stay out with Ayub ahead of him. Clearly, he thinks that Ayub won't cause him much of a headache to get past. But you might think that you'd want to stay away from backmarkers. But yeah, Rick clearly wanting to keep track position at this late stage of the race.
Yeah, Yoni went 44.5, and lap before was 43.5. So yeah, he lost 1 second in that lap alone.
That was a good guess with all the goings on that happened. So well done.
Yeah, he lost another third of a second in first sector alone. So the gap now is 32.5. That's dangerous for Yoni now, and he's pushing it hard because he's putting tires on the grass in a lot of places. And that's the one thing you don't want to do in this car. You don't want to over push it.
Yeah, overdriving any of the cars in LFS is a no-no, especially the ones with delicate clutches and delicate tyres. Ricardo went past the end of the pit lane once again.
And
we're on
Yoni
lap
lost.
40.
And Yoni lost another 4 tenths in sector 2. So the gap now is 32.9.
Oh yeah, even if Rick takes a leisurely stroll down pit lane, he should come out well in front of Yoni. But it wouldn't be the first time we've seen a mistake in the pit lane this race. Hopefully Rick can get it all sorted and out in front of the world-class Lions driver.
And for 5th place, Perez is only half a second behind Redbot now. 5 laps to go. I'm sure he will be eager to correct the mistake he made a few laps ago.
Yeah, as far as I've seen from what Santu's been doing in recent races, he doesn't make it easy for himself, does he?
Yeah, I mean, you always can hit that, rough patch in these races.
Redbot hits a rough patch.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
But Santu had a bit of a slide on exit. Still, he's in the drive zone. This will be a fun turn 1.
I mean, after Redbot nearly looped the car, you'd expect it. Definitely have to capitalise on errors like that.
What do you think? Redbot will probably defend the inside.
I expect so. Don't see why not. At the dying start of the dying moments of the race, you want to defend your positions.
Oh, that's nicely defended by Redbot.
Yeah, a nice little fight going on here. We will keep an eye on Rick Cardle to see when he comes in the pit lane, but we do
goes a bit wide.
Yeah, there we go. Move made.
Isn't this the second time Perez has pulled that move on Redbot?
I think it happened off camera last time, as far as I know.
I think it was similar move at the start of the race, at the first few laps. Right there, Redbot went a bit wide and Perez just went through.
Well, there we go. P5 again for the Fragmasters driver. Hopefully he can keep it now that he's got it back. Gemini is a long way up the road, though. That is a colossal gap. The gaps all up and down the field are huge, and this is how huge they are, Zdravko, because we now have Rick Cardle in first, lapping Rony in 7th.
Forgive me for saying, but they're just crazy. I mean, he has been relentless whole race. After they passed Adam, him, Unite, Ricardo just went off, and every lap has been flawless.
Yeah, it was always my when I was kind of getting up to speed in LFS. It was always when you did a long race, a race that was maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. I always thought, it's a successful race if you don't get lapped. It is quite demoralising when you train and you spend time working on a combo in a simulator, and then 2 laps from the end you get lapped by the leader. It is demoralising, but it does show you that they are the cut above it in the end. And Rick Cardle putting on a great display of driving today.
It just depends how you look at it. It could be depressing, but it could be motivational. Because, Ricardo isn't doing anything out of this world. He's just driving better, smoother. He's more patient with the car. Maybe he had more time to set the car up. But everyone can do it if they dedicate enough time.
Zdravko Topolnjak, ladies and gentlemen, the voice of the optimist.
Somebody has to be.
I'll go back to pessimism corner. Surely Rick has to come in the pit lane at some point, and will it be now? Will it be next lap? It has to be one of the two. Does he want to give himself a lap buffer in case something happens?
I think ideally he'd want to pit now because he has 2 lapped cars ahead of him. And the gap to Yoni is now 35 seconds.
Yeah, even with the worst pit stop in the world, Rick might still come out in the front, and we will follow him as he heads into the pit lane. And he has all the time in the world. He does not need to rush this.
He doesn't have the gear set up to.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah. So he
I
could
mean,
be losing some time.
yeah,
Maybe
I would always set first gear for a pit limit here. Because it's 65 kilometers per hour and it's a bit.
10.3, exactly the same stop time as Yoni, and unless Rick has decided to time it with fuel anyway, that is a thing I didn't consider. He may just put in the extra fuel at the end anyway, but apparently no fuel.
He did no work. He did no work at all.
This is going to be close. It's still going to be close. Rick is up to speed almost, but it's closer than I thought. I'm not going to lie.
I think Jon is going to be kicking himself over last few laps.
That is the gap after 43 laps, or 42 laps of racing. That's what pitting later means sometimes. Even though Yoni's had, well, he didn't have the best of luck on a couple of occasions during his second stint. But that is it, 2 seconds. That's actually a lot smaller than I thought. So maybe Rick's pit stop, entire pit stop time from entry to exit just wasn't as good as Yoni.
So 2 seconds actually means that before Yoni started pushing too much and losing time, he was in front of Rick.
Yeah, it's a crazy margin at the end of such a long race. I mean, we've been underway for an hour and 25 minutes at this point. Or, sorry, an hour and 15 minutes.
As Michael goes off behind Yoni.
He could get beached at this point. That is, yeah, he's going to have to wiggle his way out. That is uncomfortable. With 1 lap to go now for him. The 2 ahead of him have just gone round the last corner and will be onto the final lap. And, well, Michael, did he lose a place to Cozzy? I don't think so. No, he did. He lost a place to Magic.
Yeah, he lost the place to Magic.
And drops outside the top 10. So, oh dear.
Maybe Michael wanted to drive the same line that Yoni does in the corner. Didn't work out.
Ran out of talent, yeah. Anyway, on to the final lap come the 2 leaders. Yeah, the gap is still going up. So Rick hasn't finished yet. He wants to make sure that this is as big as possible. 2 seconds across the line. And 1 final lap to go.
Yeah, he made 3 tenths in last sector alone. I wonder if Yoni will go for a fastest lap. Just to get some pride back.
Oh, Yoni went a bit wide. It won't be the fastest lap. He got a wiggle on. That's it. It's over for the fastest lap. And the gap keeps going up and up and up between these 2.
Yeah. Yoni now just sliding for the fence. There's some very happy Vitalis Lagukas watching this.
Got a car off. That's Donny at the exit of Dean Hairpin. Bit of a weird place to go off. He must have crossed over from the exit.
And he lost 2 places for it.
Yeah, well, he's not really in much of a hurry to get back in the race. And yeah, he's almost down in last place. Teemu Soini, in fact, he is in last place as Teemu goes through. We are following along with Rick Cardle as he comes up to the final hairpin of the lap. And Donny does retire. It's never fun to retire on the last lap, but here we go. Rick Cardle beside us. What a drive. Yeah, that was something else. Yoni really did have to dig deep to even stay close to Rick in the end. That is a masterclass in consistent driving. Rick Cardle beside us crosses the line to win round 5 of Rony's Tuesday Fun Race Extra Large in 2020. Next across the line is True Alpha, Yoni Katila for World Class Lions by only 2.2 seconds in the end, Zdravko.
I mean, head off to both of them. They left Unite 25 seconds behind, and we know how Unite can be fast in these cars.
Across the line comes the second Sidus car on the podium. It's Unite, Nico Pantola. Next, it will be Gemini in a similar gap. Actually, I think the gap will be slightly longer between Unite and than it was between Unite and Yoni. Here he comes to over turn 4, doing a little bit of showboating for the empty grandstands at Rockingham. And across the line, P4 for Gemini in the end. Then it was close between Fadas and Redbot, even to the end. Fadas did manage to get through.
Even closer. It's even closer behind them between Rony and Ayub. As Ayub is on the inside, he will go to the apron a bit. But Rony has higher speed. Let's see what happens.
Oh, that was
Ayub
close.
finishes ahead.
Yeah, that was super close though. What was the gap? Wow, so about 0.3 of a second in the end, but awesome stuff. Next across the line, it'll be CCR Cozzy.
What do you mean 0.3? 0.05 of a second.
Oh, sorry, I need my glasses. I don't even have glasses. Maybe I need glasses. I couldn't read it.
Maybe.
Oh dear. So Cozzy comes across the line in P9, and that is everybody. We are classified for the race. 14 finishes from, what was it, 28 starters? So that's half the finishes. So quite the race of attrition. We know that not all of the qualifiers did start the race, but nevertheless, great to see so many cars crossing the line after a tricky race. Zdravko, do you want to run us down the final classifying order?
Well, congratulations to winner Ricardo. Second place is True Alpha, and finisher on the podium is Unite. Then we got MRC Gemini 95. Fifth place goes to Ferres. Sixth is Redbot. Seventh is Ayub. Eighth is our admin Ronnie. Ninth is CCR Kose. Everybody else is a lap down, and they finished 10th Magic, 11th Michael, 12th Yarik Attila, 13th the Muley, 14th Soini, and out of the race we had retired on the last lap 15th place Iron Donny, and other drivers that retired before were LG Miss, Jose, Mandula, Ohnifos, and Adam. Then, even further down the order, we had two MRC drivers, Mega and Zesty, Piton Racer, Hera Loco, and Salvador as last driver.
Thanks for running us down the order. Rick Cardle takes his place victory lane at Rockingham. We can get a picture of that.
And he takes the fastest lap, so well deserved. Great work.
Yeah, and Sidus get yet another win in RTFR extra large, and that just about brings the coverage of RTFR XL for another day. Thank you very much, Zdravko, for joining me for this one. It was great fun, and yeah, we'll have to wait and see what the combo is for next time. Rick Cardle will have to choose that one, and let's see what he picks for the RTFR XL race that will take place in June. Coming up on Sim Broadcast, we have a couple of things to talk about. Tomorrow we are heading back to iRacing for this series finale. The SMRC Esports Racing Spring Cup comes to a close with round 6 at Hockenheim Ring in the Global Mazda MX-5 Cup. Then we have Wayports Racing League Season 2 kicking off with round 3 actually this weekend at Westhill National. And then Rony's Tuesday Fun Race returns next Tuesday, the 25th of May, at South City Long in the XRG. And the reason I wanted to mention that is because that is going to be a bumper grid. South City in the XRG, yes please. That is going to be something else. Thank you everybody for tuning in to the coverage of RTFR XL today. I've been Peter Butcher. He's been Zdravko Topolnjak. You've been watching Sim Broadcasts. We hope you have a great evening. Thank you and good night.
Good night.